Hey, my name is Brook and I'm a tone chaser. So, maybe I can save somebody a little bit of time and trouble, but I've been through quite a bit with amplifiers, guitars, speakers, tubes, pedals, cables, picks, and slides, whatever products. I like I like the physical aspect of guitar playing, the actual equipment, the hardware, the curves of the guitar, the finish, the checking, the honest wear on a guitar. I love the vintage tubes. I love everything about it. And I have engaged in this hobby or passion for many, many years. Maybe I can just tell you a couple things. Let's talk about speakers. I have a few Fender amps, and I have switched out the 12-inch speakers in quite a few Fender cabinets, amplifiers, combos, and I can't tell a difference in them. I've used Weber's, Celestions, Eminence, and odd off brands. I came to the conclusion that an old vintage speaker does work for me, and it really doesn't matter. And I did watch a video where a person had isolated or recorded maybe 20, 25 different 12-inch speakers and played through the same amp. I couldn't hear any difference in any of them. If you can hear it, I do really respect that, but I can't. So as far as speaker, I think you should just leave what's in the amp, or if you want to replace it, go ahead, but I don't think you're going to hear a big difference. Okay, let's talk about tubes. I do have kind of an enormous selection of tube amps in my house. Most of them are Fenders. Some of them are the same models, like Champs, Deluxes, Princetons, Super Reverbs, and Bassmans. Uh-oh, here comes the cat. So, I have indulged in chasing down vintage tubes. Again, I don't hear any difference. Just as long as the tube works, you're good. Just as long as, I have a tech check my stuff out, and he's like, Brooke, it doesn't even matter. I'm like, okay, and I agree. I don't hear a difference. If maybe look up some YouTube videos where they check different tubes, compare them, see if you can hear a difference, or do it yourself. If the tube is not working, then yeah, change it. But most tubes will last decades. So when people say, "Yeah, I need to change my tubes," I'm like, I don't think you do, but go ahead. So, and I have a source that I get vintage speakers from, that I kind of just use those. Same with, he also has tubes, so he's like, here, man, here's a nice USA tube. Stick that in there. I'm like, okay. And I do have my amp tech, make sure they're biased and balanced and all that good stuff. Okay, so tubes, I don't think they make that big of a difference. Cables, just as long as they work. I bought tons of those George L cables just because Eric Johnson said they were top notch. And I think Guitar Player voted them the best sounding, so I used George L cables for a long time. They're kind of a pain in the neck. They do kind of fail, and you have to kind of maintain them and make sure the connection's good. Kind of a pain in the neck. Alright, as far as cables, just as long as they work and don't have any microphonic noise, I think they're okay. Let's see, what else? Strings, I kind of landed on D'Addario just because they have less packaging. They have a point system. They seem to not break or go on a tune. Ernie Ball strings do break. GHS strings, I don't really like them because each string is in an individual package, plastic package. I get sick of all that plastic garbage everywhere. So, as far as strings, you might hear some differences there. Picks, kind of a personal preference. I have a container full of them. I just grab one. When I go to a gig, I just grab a few, all different makes and materials, thicknesses. I kind of like a thicker pick. It doesn't wear out or break. Okay, how about pickups? Well, that could make a little difference in sound, but I was just watching a video about P90 pickups where a guy tested many different, maybe 5 different kind of exclusive brands or models of P90s. I want to find what sounds good. Okay, they all sound exactly the same. I don't think it matters, just as long as it's not microphonic or failing, it's probably okay. As far as pickups, how about tuning pegs? There's another thing. I've got some real cheap guitars with old imported tuning pegs. They hold up just fine. They don't slip. That's almost never the problem. Tuning pegs, locking tuners, pretty much not necessary. Uh, they don't hold any better. I've got some real expensive or locking tuners that they don't stay in tune very well compared to maybe some other things. Probably something wrong with the guitar. As far as hardware, I have again bought some pretty expensive top of the line aftermarket hardware for bridges and stuff. That might be, I think if you got a good bridge and a good nut, might be important, but probably doesn't matter that much. We got a problem here. But yes, I think the one thing that's important on your guitar, the nut, and I like the frets to be in good condition. But as far as the bridge, if it's real cheap pop metal, that might kind of suck some tone. Let's see, what else? As far as like a Squire, I bought at our music go-round we used to have in town, I saw a Telecaster. I bought it for a student. It was like $55. Bought it, took it home, put some really light strings on it, took it into my studio, did some country picking. That thing sounded unbelievable, man. The cheapest Squire. It was the most Telecaster sounding Telecaster I can remember. I vividly remember how great it sounded. You could buy all these expensive pickups, hardware, body, all that. Maybe, yeah, it might sound good, but I don't know. Compared to that $50 Squire, a cheaper guitar, you can kind of throw it around and have fun with it. A real expensive guitar, you're going to be afraid to dent it. Yet, I do chase vintage things, and I do still play the game, but at least I know this much about it, that it really doesn't matter. Like I did a video about I have 5 Jaguars. I did a video comparing all 5. I don't know, maybe they felt a little different in the neck, but the necks were very similar. The weights felt similar. The pickups sound the same. The bridges work the same. I usually use I will say I do like the Mastery bridge on a Jaguar just because it does seem to stay in tune and not break strings, no string hop, so I do kind of buy into that. But I just wonder how much marketing do we fall for? So, I'm susceptible. As far as vintage guitars, does the old wood sound better? I am seduced by like the natural wear on an old vintage guitar, and I kind of get into like, I wonder who played this. I wonder what kind of historical things happened with this guitar. I wonder what stories happened, and I do like the checking. I find the checking kind of interesting to look at and touch, and when it's worn down to the bare wood on little sections from like arm wear, it's pretty cool. On the neck, when the finish is worn away, that's kind of neat. When the finish is changed from time, maybe from smoke, cigarette smoke, or sunlight, or oxidizing, or whatever it does, I find that kind of seductive. So yes, I love guitars. I love amps. I will say a couple things about amps. Well, let me talk about deluxe reverbs. Luckily I've got some older ones, older deluxe amps. They do sound really, really, really good. I assume the reissues are kind of like, ew, I really wouldn't be interested in that because it's not hand wired. I plugged into them at Guitar Center. I'm like, this thing is amazing. The tremolo's a lot more crisp. The reverb's very deep. The treble is brilliant. The bass is full. I mean, it's just exploding with everything you could ever want. My amps are a little more mellowed out with age. All right, so why do I have those vintage amps? I don't know. I just like them. I like them because they're hand wired. I'm always afraid if I drop it, it might crack the circuit board on a reissue because it's a printed circuit board. But that ain't gonna sound better or worse, I don't think. All right, Marshalls. I do have that 1974 Marshall head. It's a printed circuit board. That thing sounds awesome. It does sound just like early Kiss records. I don't know if that's good or bad, but it does sound like the Ramones or the Replacements. It's got that perfect tone for me. I love that thing. I can hear a difference there. Versus a modern Marshall, they do sound kind of fizzy, kind of just kind of like a transistor radio sort of screechy, scratchy sound. My old Marshall has just got this depth, warmth, sparkle. It's got everything, but it's not like fizzy. Okay, as far as I do have a 55 Champ. This sounds amazing when you turn it up. At low volume, it distorts in the most glorious way possible. So I will say I can hear a couple of good things there. But those reissue Fenders sound really good. Okay, one more thing. I have recorded a lot of amps in my studio. And anyway, anything from the Marshall to like a real cheap Alamo or a K amp, little small combos, little Champs, anything. You crank them up and it goes through into the microphone, into your recording hardware or software. They sound about the same. They all sound about the same by the time they get, the Marshall does have a little bit of a big commanding resonance I can identify, but you're not going to hear that big of a difference. I did buy those, what do you call them? Universal Audio amp in a box. There's like the Deluxe Reverb, there's the AC30, and then there's the 57 Deluxe. I've used those. They sound pretty good. I did some gigs where I went just right with those, and out the PA into the monitor, no amp, fine. It was good. I actually liked it a lot. So I'm not saying that, I'm just saying it might not even matter. I'm just saying being kind of an amp snob, I'm like, this is fine. But they weren't, at the end of the day, the thing that's going to sound good is if you can write your own songs or play in tune or in time or, maybe select an appropriate tone. But all these little hardware things, we're trying to get the best sound possible. It just doesn't really add up, or it doesn't, the payoff, I'm not hearing it. So I feel pretty stupid right now because I have spent so much time restoring amps and guitars and upgrading them, not hopefully tastefully, when something needs to be changed or it's broken, not working, or missing, try to do it tastefully and not destroy it. But let's talk about Strats. I've got this old Strat, man, and I fought it for 30 years trying to keep it in tune. I finally took it in and got it set up properly. That made it 1,000 times better. So getting to know a good guitar repair person is probably worth all of that stuff I talked about. Probably more important to get them set up perfectly, like factory specs. The thing stays in tune and plays amazing. And I fought it for forever because I was too cheap to actually. I thought I can set it up. No, I couldn't. I had to go take it to Tom. and he did the setup. So that might be a better place to put your money if you're into guitars and stuff. But at the same time, I'm still in the game. I've got that SG special. I showed you the body and neck. It's like a husk project. So I was trying to find out what P90s I'm going to get. I think I'm just going to get the cheapest ones I can find and just go low budget. I was thinking, let's go historically correct. Let's get all original, correct year, the whole deal. That would be very expensive. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to get the cheapest stuff I can throw on there, make it work, make it look fairly correct, and, if nobody comes up to me at a gig with a magnifying glass, nobody cares that I've got a 64 Strat on stage. And same with P basses. I've got a 64 P bass. It does sound pretty magical, I gotta admit. But I gotta wonder if I compared it to any, I don't know, made in Mexico, Squire, USA, made in China, Japanese P bass, would it sound any different? Maybe. That thing does have a little bit of magic. So I'm not saying the whole thing is garbage. The whole effort is worthless. But pretty close. All right, man. So just keep some of that in mind when you're doing your restorations or seeking for tone and so forth. It might be more important to get a metronome, a good tuner, get your guitar set up, get a guitar teacher, learn to sight read, learn your chords, learn some songs, try to write some music, try to record some music. Those things, I would recommend going more in that direction. Tuning, scales, sight reading, theory. Get a good teacher that will challenge you and get you out of your comfort zone. And I bet that probably is more powerful than geeking out on the hardware. All right. That's my big ramble, man. I hope it wasn't too over the top. But that's what I found out from actually chasing this tone. And I do watch a lot of YouTube videos. And, man, they all sound pretty much the same to me. All right, man. Let me know how I sound when I play. Let me know what my tone is like. So give me some feedback. Let me know what your experience is chasing tone. And, like Joe Bonamassa, man. That guy's got all those guitars. Some of them are like priceless, original strings from a 1952 Les Paul. It's all never been touched. He'll play it maybe or something. They all sound the same. To me, am I different? Am I way off here? What do you think? Tell me if you agree, or go ahead and argue. If you state your case, let me know. Am I way off base? I'm interested in hearing some conversation on this. So thanks for letting me tell you about my little story there. Peace out.